Right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a really fundamental shift in warfare. I mean, for more than 100 years, the sky has been a battlefield, right? But the rules, the tools, the whole nature of that fight, it's all changing, and it's changing faster than ever before. You just have to look at the headlines. We see it every single day. You've got missile and drone strikes absolutely hammering Ukraine's power grid. You have the Houthi attacks crippling international shipping in the Red Sea. And of course, these really tense missile exchanges happening across the Middle East. The thing is, these aren't just one-off events. No, they're all symptoms of a much bigger, new global trend. So, what's the connection? What do all these conflicts have in common? Well, it all comes down to a really old strategy. We're talking a century old, that's been given a dangerously modern update. This is the new age of strategic bombing. But it's not being fought with massive fleets of bombers anymore. No, it's being fought with swarms of drones and volleys of missiles. Okay, so the new face of war. Let's break this down. To really get what's happening now, we've got to look back in time. Because the core idea here, it's not new at all. I mean, since the very first days of military planes, theorists have been just fascinated with this idea that you could win a war entirely from the sky. And that's the key thing, really. The goal hasn't changed. It's always been the same. The theory goes like this. If you can strike deep inside enemy territory, hit their infrastructure, their population, you can break their will to fight. So what's different today? It's not the why they're doing it, it's the how. So, from bombers to drones, how did we get here? For the better part of 100 years, if you wanted to do strategic bombing, you needed one thing, a heavy bomber. That was it. But that whole era, it's over. And it's really two things that change the game: economics and technology. And this chart really lays it out perfectly. I mean, think about the bomber era. You needed a giant industrial base and basically a blank check. It was a super exclusive club, right? Only superpowers could play. But now, the drone and missile era has a much lower bar for entry. The cost is way down. And that means these weapons are now available to a whole range of countries, and even groups that aren't countries at all. And another huge difference, bombers are precious. They're vulnerable. Drones, they're designed to be thrown away, to be expendable. And to put a number on that cost, just listen to this. A single B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, $2 billion. That's for one plane. Even the brand new B-21 Raider is going to cost over $700 million a pop. You just can't afford to lose those. You can't. So this is what people mean when they talk about the democratization of warfare. Look at this. At the very, very top of the pyramid, you have the Strategic Bomber Club. It's tiny, just 3 countries, the US, Russia, and China. That's it. Go down a level to ballistic missiles. That club's a lot bigger. Over 30 countries have them. But then you get to the base of the pyramid, drones. And they are everywhere. I mean, literally everyone, from a superpower down to a small insurgent group, can get their hands on them. All right, so what does all this mean? What are the consequences? Well, this shift has made the world a lot more dangerous and unpredictable. That old idea that geography could protect you, that distance could keep you safe, that's just disappearing. And it creates this totally new reality, what you could call war without borders. I mean, just think about it for a second. You have the Houthis in Yemen launching missiles at Israel that's over 1,000 kilometers away. Iran can hit targets all over the region from its own soil. Distance just isn't the shield it used to be. So that leads to a really important question, right? What happens when you can launch an attack from hundreds, even thousands of kilometers away? What does that do to regional stability? Well, it means a local war can suddenly become a regional crisis almost instantly. And this is what we mean by the escalation ladder. Let's just play this out. Imagine country A fires missiles at country C, but to get there, those missiles have to fly over country B, which is neutral. They want nothing to do with this. All of a sudden, country B has an impossible choice to make. Do they shoot down the missiles and make country A furious, or do they let them fly over, making country C furious? Just like that, in a flash, they are dragged into a war they wanted no part in. Okay, but all of this leads to maybe the most important question of all. We've got more countries, more groups launching more long-range attacks. It's causing a lot more pain, a lot more suffering. But for all its popularity, does this strategy actually work? Is it any good at winning wars? The short answer? No. It's pretty clear from what we're seeing in recent conflicts. When these campaigns are used on their own, they are consistently failing to do what they're supposed to do, which is to break an enemy's will or force them to surrender. And you know, the reasons why they fail are, They're kind of timeless. First off, modern air defenses are pretty good. They can knock down a lot of these attacks. But, and this is maybe more important, these strikes often backfire. Psychologically, I mean. Instead of breaking people's morale, they often create this rally around the flag effect. It just makes people more determined to fight. It turns out populations are just a lot tougher than attackers think they are. And when you give people the choice between surrender and resistance, most choose to resist.
So if it doesn't really work, why does everybody keep doing it? Why do leaders keep reaching for this tool? Well, it's because of this powerful 100-year-old idea, this myth. It's the allure of air power. It promises a quick, clean, precise way to win a war, without all the bloody, messy, expensive business of a ground invasion.
And you can see the contrast right here. The myth is that you get a decisive victory, that you break the enemy's spirit, that it's clean and precise. But the reality, what we see over and over again, it's often just a stalemate. Instead of breaking morale, it unites the enemy. And instead of being clean, it causes immense suffering for civilians, which only makes them more determined to fight back.
And that right there is what makes this so dangerous, because these tools, drones, missiles, they're pretty cheap, and they look like an easy button, an easy solution. So the temptation to use them is just huge, even if they don't actually work that well. For a politician, it looks like you're doing something. It creates the appearance of taking decisive action.
So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway here? As this new era of aerial warfare gets bigger and bigger, that old promise of a quick, clean victory from the air, it's more tempting than ever. But the reality is pretty clear. The real price for this isn't paid by soldiers on a battlefield. It's paid by regular people in their homes, in their cities. And that leaves us with a really sobering thought for the future. As these weapons get even cheaper and even easier to use, who is it that's going to pay the ultimate price for this obsession with winning wars from the sky?